Hey guys, M.V.K here. How's everybody doing on their end? As always, so I'm here, guys, to finally kind of give my overview of Samurai Jack, the final season of Samurai Jack. I know you guys have been asking me and wondering if I was going to do anything for Samurai Jack, so here I am. I'm definitely going to talk about it. Last week, I believe it was last week or so, they actually showed a marathon of Season 5, and we're going to talk about Season 5. So first of all, thank you, Mr. Trukowski, for your great series. This has always been a critically acclaimed series that I really enjoyed, and many fans like myself enjoyed. It's so good to see basically one of your creations, one of your babies, finally fulfill its destiny and finish its story. You know, and that's kind of the truth. When you think about all the stuff that Mr. Trukowski has done for Cartoon Network in general, a lot of his series have not finished, were not really officially finished. Jack did. Symbiotic Titan never finished, and I would have loved to see how he was going to wrap that up, but it never finished. This did. So let's talk about Samurai Jack Season 5 for a minute. Basically, what I'm going to talk about is overall story, the plot, maybe my favorite episode or scene, what shocked me the most, and that's about it. So let's talk about the story in general. The story wise, it really this season really did feel more like a sense of failure in the beginning. You know, Jack is sent into the future by accident by Aku when he had a chance to, we all know, had a chance to defeat Aku, and the demon shapeshifter pulls a fast one and sends him into the future where his evil is ruling now. And ever since then, Jack has been trying to get back to the past. But now we see that this 50 years have passed now, and it's further into the future, and Jack has somewhat stopped aging. Time has no place for him. So that was always kind of interesting. I was like, okay, that's interesting. Okay, he's not aging. But when we see Jack, you know, he's got a full beard, and he's riding around in full armor, and he's using guns. And that was always a question that kind of, oh, Jack's using guns. What's up with that? But the main gist was that Aku is still winning. He's winning the fight, and the main key of things was Jack lost his sword. The sword was gone. He didn't have the sword. He seemed to have been suffering from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. I wanted to make sure I get that right. Seemed to be he was seeing hallucinations of his family, basically his father. He's seeing sides of himself and all kinds of stuff. Like, there's a lot of things going wrong in this series that made you like really step back a little bit. In my opinion, made me step back and like, whoa, okay, Mr. Kelsey is going a little differently than he's done in the past 4 seasons. And so that was always interesting. And then of course the villain, yeah, we see Aku, but the main gist of the creme of the crop of the season was the daughters of Aku. These, I think it was 7 of them. Correct me on that one, guys. 7 females that were birthed by this one woman, I believe, and she's trained them to kill Jack, all in the name of Aku. And that just was interesting to me from the get-go. I'm like, okay, now this is going to get really interesting. How is Jack going to deal with this? And we saw that when they finally met him, they nearly killed Jack. Jack was totally outnumbered. He was overwhelmed. And I was like, whoa, okay. And finally we saw Jack kind of, he was hurt. I mean, they, once again, showing that this was a little bit more mature. This tone was different. Stabbings, blood, you know, Jack killing humans. And that was probably one of the biggest things for me, was seeing that when he was fighting the daughters of the Aku, in that like maze area, and you know, he caught one, he countered one guy, and then slit her throat, and the thing that sold it the most was the look on Jack's face. The look on his face when he saw she's not a robot, you know, was sold it. It was probably the cream of the crop, that he's not facing robots, androids. No, he's facing flesh and blood humans that are willing to kill him in general. And that was kind of the story. You know, it was just really interesting in seeing that. You know, seeing Jack go through these trials and tribulations, him not sleeping well, him having these nightmares and everything like that. It really felt like Jack is struggling. It's almost to the sense, does Jack want to give up? Does he want to quit? But in the meantime, you see all the people, all the things, all the allies that he's met over the years still keep up the fight. And even when he spares one of the daughters who would turn out to be Aoshi, her name is Aoshi, who was voiced by Tara Strong. I know that voice anywhere. She comes to see that maybe everything is not what it seems to be. And I kind of figured that's where the story was going to go after a while, which was great. I did enjoy that, like the journey between Aoshi and Jack, and him showing her that Aku is evil. Whatever they've been telling you is a bunch of lies. You know, listen to reason. And she got to see that. And then even to the point she joined him and helped him defeat Aku. And there's even one point where, probably one of my favorite episodes, one of them was where Jack was in a transit state. He was going through like a warrior's path quest again to reclaim the sword, and she protected him. She protected Jack against the whole battalion, which was great. Seeing the Scotsman, you know, was great, and seeing that this guy had over 50 daughters and he knows every one of them by name was great. Just like, man, that's a lot. That was funny. That was hilarious. But seeing that he died, but then came back as a ghost, and was interesting indeed. His daughters were interesting. I really kind of wish Mr. Chowsky could have probably went into more depth into their characters. Like, they all probably had a different set of personalities, which I wish. But Aoshi definitely did shine. I did like her. I knew when I saw the daughters of Aku, I knew at least one of them is probably going to turn. I had a feeling. I always had that feeling that one of them was going to turn. And we found out it was. And it was so bad that it wasn't. It was even to the point that even Jack and her got romantically involved with each other. Now, some would say that was a little bit rushed. I had a lot of friends that would say that's kind of weird because Jack is like older and she's younger. And then we kind of pulled the Avatar with Aang and Katara. But Aang is older than he looks, so it was kind of funny. But I saw it kind of coming when they were doing that. A lot of people thought it was just going to be a mentorship, but it wasn't. It was still hard for me not to hear Mako do the voice of Aku, but we all know Mako passed away a couple of years ago, could be longer. But you know, the actor who voiced him tried to do his best not to sound too much like Mako, but I don't like that when the voice actor, maybe the original voice actor, leaves and the next actor comes along and tries to sound too much like the previous. I don't like that. Try to find your own set. Try to find your own voice set for that character. But it was fine. I didn't mind, but I knew eventually when Jack finally met Aku again, they were going to duke it out, and it was good to see them, and it was good to see all of Jack's allies come to help him fight, and that was fun. And unfortunately, Aku did kind of get a one-up on Jack in terms of realizing that his blood is kind of in Aoshi, and we saw her turn, but she fought it off, and I like that. I thought that was really good. It kind of felt like a little bit of a Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker feel. Like, yeah, it's in her, but she fought it off, and even to the point, I love how she was able to make a time portal and send Jack back to the past right in time to stop Aku, which was great. I did enjoy that. But that ending, y'all, the ending, I knew right from the get-go it was going to end badly. I knew it. I knew it was going to be more like Jack may have won the war, but Aku is going to have the last laugh, and it looks like Jack is going to get married. He's going to have a family, and you got to remember, without Aku, Aoshi doesn't exist, and she died. And I was a little sad about that. I was like, oh, Jack. And then I thought, okay, he was going to be depressed all the time, but it didn't turn out that way. It turned out to be he rose back up, remembering Aoshi for who she was, kind of dust that negativity off his shoulders and move forward. So in a sense, guys, the overall story and all the cast and everything was really still well done. It just felt like old times again, and Mr. Chudkowsky just did a magnificent job with this series, and having a clear-cut conclusion makes it even worth even more. Like, now, if anybody wants to go back and watch from season 1 and up, you can, and fully feel fulfilled, in my opinion. Because in a sense, that was always the case with me with Samurai Jack. I was like, it never really had an official ending. If there was one thing I would say I had a little bit of a negative about, was the length. I wish it wasn't as short as it was. I wish it was a little bit longer. But other than that, nothing really else to complain about. Nothing really all. It was a good season. It was a good show. It will go down probably as one of the greatest American cartoons in history, in my opinion. I'm just giving my opinion on it, guys. But season 5 of Samurai Jack was good. Do I recommend it? Hell yeah. Do I give a lot of praise to Gene? Yes. Phil Lamar? Yes. Tara Strong? Yes. Everybody involved in this season, thank you so much for finally concluding Jack's story. And other than that, guys, this is Mount Vernon Kid saying peace, one love, stay tuned, keep it real. The Omni Geek High Lord of New York bids you adieu. Take care.